Hi guys, welcome back to day 4. It's the official day 4. When I listed the day 4 from yesterday, it was actually day 3, but today is the official day 4 of the podcasting training, and it's all going on in the month of July. And today I'm going to talk about how to name your podcast, how to decide what to do, and how to go about actually registering, quote unquote, the podcast name. Now, there's really no official way, like for example, if you were filing an entity, an LLC or a business name, you would file it with the state, right? Have some paperwork. But there's no official way to do that for podcasting. However, when you do go into your podcasting naming, you want to go into a domain, or not a domain, but a broad sense of naming your podcast. If you are not sure of your niche yet, if you don't know what niche you want to get into, and you kind of want to get into podcasting and really understand what you are gravitating to naturally, then go with just some sort of random broad title like The Maria Show, right? Or The Lifestyle of blah blah of Maria, right? That way it's broad. Then eventually, once you get to know your passion and purpose and how you naturally gravitate to a niche, then you can go ahead and change your podcast name to that. But for now, if you are unsure, go broad. The next thing you want to do is you want to research some names into the current podcast platforms like Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and you want to check to see if that is already, those names are taken. And you don't want to be in competition with current podcasts that have similar names. Otherwise, it's going to be hard for you to actually be found, or people might get confused that that person's you, but it's really not. So you want to make your name unique and different. It's not already used by doing your research in those platforms. Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts is the 3 main ones, okay? Then from there, once you've decided on your podcast name, you can also go into taking it on another level and register for a domain name, which is really purchasing, getting your website up, and then making your website attached to your podcast. So for me, my podcast is Talks with Maria, and I kept it with Talks with Maria, even though now I'm a women's empowerment coach for businesses. Right now, I have my Confident Business Women's Academy, and I help female entrepreneurs achieve high-paying clients. I still have my talkswithmaria.com website. I still have my Talks with Maria podcast. However, the subtitle to it would be Business and Motherhood Coaching. And I still kept it that way because my entity name is TWM Enterprises. So it's kind of all like already in there in its own island. And I want to keep it that way. And then eventually, once things, eventually. I like the way it is. I like Talks with Maria because a lot of my services are these conversations. I have a lot of conversations with people, and strategies happen over our talks, right? So talkswithmaria.com is very fitting for what I do and what I offer. So for you guys could do something similar to that, where you could do conversations with, right? Or the daily lifestyle of whatever it is. And you would look into, I'll go to searching for domain names under GoDaddy.com. Then you can look into how much that website domain name costs, right? Usually if it's something not as popular like Talks with Maria, that's not really a popular domain name. I got that for about $20. However, if you find Women's Empowerment Company and you run a Women's Empowerment Company, and that's literally what your domain name would be, I'm sure someone already has that domain name because it's a popular phrase, and you'll have to spend some money if you are specific about the domain name. But the ending can be different. It could be women's empowerment company.org.co. You could even do .edu. I don't know the other ones, but I know there are different types of endings to make it available so that that domain name is available. So when you are naming your podcast, just if you aren't sure, definitely go broad, then niche down. A lot of the things that I've learned along the way of being a podcaster is that my podcast went from being a motherhood podcaster, going into the struggles and challenges of motherhood, really understanding who I am as a mom, then realizing my passion for entrepreneurship, business ownership, and online marketing. Then I combined the two over time. Now, I wouldn't have known that it was going to be that way 2 years ago. So you're never going to know where you're going to lead up to once you continue to do some action behind being a creator, right? Because you're really creating things as you go, ideas come into your head. And then also your spirit is called to do something you didn't realize that you really wanted to do until you're in the game. So just get in the game if you haven't gotten in the game yet. Definitely start recording some shows. And if you don't know what to talk about, make it a topic. Topic number 1 is who are you and what can you expect for your podcast? That's a whole hour in itself. Who are you? You tell your story and you say, this is what you can expect from the show. That's episode number 1. Episode number 2 can be breaking down your challenges that you've experienced in life. Challenge number 1 and how you overcame that challenge. That's like 30 minutes, right? If you're really good and really get into the nitty-gritty of that challenge, that's probably a 30 to an hour minute long conversation you can have on your show. And then you don't only have one challenge in your life, you probably have a handful of challenges that you've overcame. So creating content isn't too difficult. You just have to get out of your head and almost just let the spirit guide you into where your passions and purpose really is about, right? So you have to just get into it for you to realize it. You can't do it sitting down on the bench and watching everybody else do it. Okay, guys, so that is show or training number 4, how to title your podcast and how to go broad if you don't know your niche, and then also how to do some research, some quick research on what current podcasts are out there. And then also how to get your domain name registered so that it can be linked to a website when you are ready for that next step. All right, guys, I will be in touch later this week for day 5. Have a great evening.